10 or 15 sponsors. That's not the intent. It's very, again, curated to make sure that we're hitting the right, topics. I think I'm getting pushed off the stage here, so I'm going to stop. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to introduce someone that I met a couple months back. This guy, if you haven't, you'll hear his story. I'm not going to steal this thunder. His name is Gorman, otherwise known as InfoSec Pat. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. He's actually a YouTube sensation. He's got 139,000 followers on YouTube. He does a ton of content. I heard his story, like the brief version, the 2-minute version, and immediately when I heard that, I'm like, Pat, you gotta come on Keynote, man. I want you at IntelliCon. He's like, I'm in, I'm all in, right? So thank you, Pat. I appreciate it. And yeah, man, the floor is yours, man. Take it.
Definitely have to go up those slides. Hello, hello. All right, there we go. There we go. Can you hear me? Sweet. I'll just wait till these slides come up. But obviously, thank you everyone for coming out, and guys, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate this. And yeah, one thing I've done a lot of talks, a lot of things about cybersecurity, how to get into the field, and hack and stack and stuff. But this is the first time I actually presented. I will be presenting something about more of my life, right? Once this actually shows up, I actually never been vulnerable to this extent ever in my life. But yeah. So the talk today is from survival mode in the streets to making it, and this is pretty much my story, right? My name is obviously Patrick Gorman. I'm the founder of ISV Security. And there goes a few little slides about myself. But yeah, we can go to the next one, please. Yeah, we might have to. All right, so just a little bit about me. I was born and raised in New York, in Queens. Like, obviously, this gives my age away, right? The 80s. So, anyone here from New York? Yeah? Yeah? You're not New Yorker. Yeah. Do you think Queens, where? Okay. Do you live there now? Awesome, awesome. Well, you see, like, were you born and raised there? Okay. So how long have you been there? Okay, so you've been there a minute. So, like, it's different now than it was 30 years ago, especially in the streets. Like, you see dope, you see this, you see that. So, like, I grew up in a time, I love my family. I'm not here to. So like bash anyone, you know? But I grew up like, you can't see. Sorry. Can you get that thing out of the way? Yeah, yeah, so, so I want to like take a moment to obviously thank them for everything they've done, but the time I grew up, like I grew up in an area like Jamaica, Queens. Like I was born in Jamaica. Okay, cool, awesome, thank you. Yes, I was born in Jamaica, Queens. If anyone knows Jamaica, it's predominantly black, Puerto Rican, Dominican neighborhoods. And being a white family, being an Italian family, growing up in that little neighborhood, it was a little tough. You know, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of drugs, a lot of stuff. And this impacted me by just like, okay, like, I know going forward, this is not the life I want. You know what I mean? But this is the only life I knew. You know, like, I see some crazy shit. You know what I mean? People getting stabbed, shot, killed right in front of me just because of a color of their skin or whatever. And all it's about is like, man, we all just want hope, right? We just want to be like, just like everyone else and just like fit in, do your thing, and just keep it moving. So just like at a young age, man. Like at a young age, I was exposed to some shit like that. I wish I'm glad my daughter will never see. I'm glad friends that I grew up with never saw because it impacted me the way I am today. Because I knew I never wanted to do that. Um, and it helped me like grow up real fast, right? Like I grew up super, super quick. The age of uh, like I grew up 16 years old. I left the house, moved to Florida at 17 years old because my mother passed away, and then like there was a whole bunch of things like, man, like where am I gonna end up? What am I gonna do? And everything like that. So like at the end of the day, like I knew that the life I was living wasn't the life for me, but this is all I knew. So, perseverance and struggle, right? I'm sure I'm not the only one up here that ever struggled. Struggle can mean anything, right? It can be financially, it can be losing a family member, it can be whatever, right? Like I said, despite these challenges, like I learned resilience and determination always by, staying true to my dream and no matter the circumstances. Like I can tell like story time, for example, like I remember when I was walking home from school one day, and I'm not, because now I'm live, I'm not going to say the family member, but someone was selling dope. Someone was doing that thing, and I walked in my house, and I had to use the bathroom, and I opened the door, someone was shooting up. So like this is the shit I was exposed to, and this was the norm for me. So it's just like, you, no matter what your path is, there's hope. That's pretty much what today's thing's about. It's like, pain can either break you or build you, and the fucking built me. So, all right. So now gets a little more of the fun stuff, right? So, how did I stay focused, right? Like going from coming home, seeing dope deals, seeing this, seeing that, fucking seeing my father put my uncle's head through the wall, like so much shit. Like, what saved me was skateboarding and bowling. Maybe a few people have seen my story about bowling. I actually paid for college bowling. I was a really good bowler. I'm still good. I'm not saying I'm bad now, but I'm still a pretty decent bowler. And I have 39, 300 games. If there's anyone that bowls here, like that's a perfect game. Um, and that's what I wanted to do, like skate and bowl. And this is before cyber, right? I was still in New York here. And man, when I was doing switch, I don't know if anyone ever skateboarded in their life, but that's a switch tail slide down that thing. And I was like, I look at that, and I'm like, damn, I was pretty good. Um, I was a pretty good skater, and that's what kept me out of trouble, right? Like that and bowling. And I try to keep, like I love going home, but I hated going home. If that makes sense. Like it's like, man, if I was out and doing my thing, I was happy. When I go home, I never knew what the fuck was gonna happen. So yeah, this is just pretty much, and made sure like what I wanted to do didn't defeat me. Like I defeated it. Like I skateboarded, I got sponsored skating, I bowled, I got sponsored bowling. I, you know, yeah, like I don't want to talk about that stuff, but it was a whole ordeal. And I started traveling for bowling, and then I landed in Florida. I think that's the next one here. Yeah, it's a little bumpy, but that's. Can anyone guess how old I am here? And at this point, I had A plus, Network plus. If you can see, like those are the old CompTIA certs. So like that's a old time, and those things don't expire, so I don't have to worry about CEs or something like that. But anyone can take a guess, and I was a Microsoft certified trainer at this point. So just take a guess how old I am here. 22. 21. 21. Yeah, and I just bought my house. I bought a house at 22. I was 21 in this picture. And you can tell, like, I still have that New York style, right? Like that fucking tee, that shirt was massive. I used to, wear baggy tees and tall tees. And yeah, I was 22 years old. I already had, like, my MCSE in Microsoft. And it was just, like, life-changing. So at this point, I'm in Florida. I left New York. And I felt like I needed to do a control delete, right? Reset button, because I stayed back home, like after my mother died. I skipped the whole thing. Like after my mother died, I went through like counseling. I wanted to kill people's mothers. Like I went through some shit in my head. Like why did they have to take my mother? If they're gonna take mine, I'm gonna take yours. Those things went through my mind. And moving to Florida was definitely the best thing ever. And made, like a massive change in my life. And like he says, like the city's hustle and bustle were just like replaced by Florida's, like everything I do now in Florida is like, I will never go back home, like to live. Like you can't pay me $1 trillion to go back to the hood, back to my neighborhood where I grew up. And what did this actually do to me, right? Like moving to Florida, it obviously changed me. It allowed me to ask myself, who am I? What do I want? What kind of man do I want to become? And it was just like, man, I knew I didn't want to be like my past, which is my family. Like, I just wanted something bigger, and I think I got it. So yeah, a little bit about how I found cyber. So I was working in IT for, I think at this point, 7 years. And then, like, I was a big sneakerhead. And that was funny because I was debating on coming up here today, like I used to dress back in New York. And actually, I wanted to actually get my hair braided. Because I used to braid my hair and wear do-rag and everything like that. And I was like, nah, maybe that's a little too much. But, yeah, so I was like, going forward, I was like, man, like, I wanted to do something more than just IT. But I didn't know, like, right. So growing up in New York, he knows a lot of connivers, a lot of get-overs. Everyone wants to, like, get one over on you. And then what is that? That pans out to, like, social engineering. Like, social engineering is sort of like you're a conniver. And so I'm like, I was doing that without even knowing I was doing it, And I got my PayPal hacked. And I was selling sneakers, I was selling sneakers on eBay, and my PayPal got hacked. And that's what really, really intrigued me, of like how I can make money robbing. Like you can actually get paid for robbing. So, I started developing resilience and determination, learning from like stuff like CBC nuggets, forms, cheat sheets, and straight up grind, right? And I say this like, and back then I didn't pay for any of that. I used to pirate it all, right? Like I didn't have money to pay for CBC nuggets, and it's funny because they were like, then they went to, I know a few people at CBT Nuggets, and then for that reason they went to just a model of just online. But what's stopping you from loading up OBS Studio and screen recording and downloading it? You're still robbing it, right? So there's no way you can stop piracy unless there's someone in here that can really stop it. But I haven't seen it. But I got my first certification, which was my MCSD. This was before A+, Network Plus, Security Plus, and all those pluses. And it's countless nights studying. I grew up with a learning disability. I grew up I started learning how to read at like 8 to 9 years old. I wasn't reading as a kid. I had a whole fucking hooked on phonics, and like reading was always tough for me. But I never let that stop me. I'm still gonna do my thing and do whatever's meant for me. And the MCSE, does anyone here have their like MCSE 2003 or 2000? Yeah, cool. So 7 exams, right? 7 bloody exams was a lot. So the only one I failed was the 289, I think it was, which was one on the MCSE, which is Microsoft Certified System Administrator. And just kept on pushing forward. And the point I wanted to make here is like, no matter your ability or disabilities, like there's still light at the end of the tunnel, and you can do it, right? I was able to do it, and I really, really feel, I don't know if it's just me because I'm just living in this, like I always feel like if I can do it, anyone can do it, right? Like, and it's true, and I tell my little one that, and I think she's 10, she reads better than me now. So it's true. Like, So, eventually I broke into IT and I moved into security and finally found my niche in pen testing. So I worked as a cybersecurity engineer for several years, and obviously everyone has that traditional route, right? IT, SOC, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't really take the SOC, I never really worked as a SOC engineer. We did like more security engineering, some CTI stuff, and going into, which I don't really talk about online, digital forensics, using in-case and e-discovery and all that stuff. Like, I really enjoyed that stuff. And I did it for 6 years, going to court, going through chain of custody, and doing all these things is super cool. It's super intriguing to me. But pen testing always had my heart, and I really enjoyed that. And then, look at this guy. I forgot I had that picture. So obviously, cybersecurity wasn't just a field, right? It was a life. It was like a lifeline, and like a way out and a chance to rewrite my story. And this is a funny picture because I always wanted to do my own thing, right? I was like, oh, I was probably 23, 24 years old. Yeah, because I had my Mazda. I was like 22, something like that, I don't remember. But then I started the PGPC services. I used to like go around. It was weird. Like this was my philosophy with this when I first started. Because back then, like Geek Squad was the main thing, right? So I would go to Best Buy, wait for Geek Squad to leave, right? And I would follow them. I never even just told anyone that, but I would follow them to the house, and then, like I would go knock on the door. I'm like, hey, like, do you guys need PC? Because I knew something needed to be repaired because Geek Squad were out there. And I'm like, oh, I just got a call into the company, which is a lie. And then like I was just like, oh, you have Geek Squad here? How much are they charging you? If they charge you $100, I fucking do it for $50. You know what I mean? So I started doing this, and it was a scheme, It was a fucking scheme. But I did it, and I'm being honest, right? I was gonna tell a few honest stories that got me into the game. But yeah, that was funny. And I just started riding around with this, and it's so funny because I remember friends telling me, dude, that shit is whack. Like, get that thing off your computer, get it off your car. And I was like, nah, son, I'm just gonna leave that shit up there. And like that stupid little sign right there, I remember I was like 24 years old. I made like $60,000 that year just from that sign, and it was all cash, right? Because it's like, like back then it was like PayPal or cash or just write my name and Uncle Sam, I don't even know about that. But yeah, so then, part three, now, this was about 6 years ago now, InfoSec Pat and becoming a founder started. And I launched let me get just a sip of water, my mouth's getting dry. Sorry. Yeah, so I launched a YouTube channel called InfoSec Pat, and it was focused on just IT and cybersecurity. And the way that this came about, and I think personal branding and all that stuff is super, super important, especially for those folks trying to get into the field and everything like that. And this happened by studying with a group of friends. We were studying for PCNSE, which is Palo Alto Certified System Engineer, or Security Engineer. And we were all studying for it, and everyone has their own niche, right? VPN, BGP, static routing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey man, like, how about we make a video and we teach each other? And I was like, okay. I never filmed myself. I never recorded myself before that. So I like made a video how to install Palo Alto inside of VMware. So I was like, okay, cool. Let me go ahead and make this video, put it onto the Google Drive, share it with my mates, and then like, dude, you should throw this on YouTube. I'm like, I don't even know how to use YouTube. Like, I didn't know. I never watched a YouTube video before 2020. Fun fact. So, like everyone was like, oh, you never heard of, this person? Now I'm like, oh, I don't know any of those people. And then I started it, and I was like, okay, this is fun, and then it was like, oh, 2 views, 5 views. I was like, oh shit, it's getting me out of my family, because I was sending it to my family, like, hey, check this out, just like it, just who cares? And then I'm like, and as it grew, got some traction, and I was like, man, this can be something, right? And I didn't expect it to be where it is today, to be honest. I thought it would just stay like in this small little bubble, and it developed into something super. You know, like I'm here today because of that little guy, right? So it's super cool, and you know, I wanted to break down because, like I said, my learning disability, I learn different. Like that, I love Hack the Box. I'm a big fanboy of Hack the Box. If anyone knows me, you know, I just did my KP exam. But their style of learning, I had to adapt to, right? Because it's all reading, and literally, I don't read. I just copy it. I mean, cover over it and read out loud. I click something, so that's the way I learn, right? If I read it, I have to read it 10 times to try to really comprehend. Like, if someone reads it to me, I'll learn it better. And then I started adapting to this. I'm like, man, this is really interesting. So everyone has their own adaptation to learning. So the way I wanted to make things easier is like, I want to convey this to you, how I learn it, because if I'm doing it that way, I know you're going to do it because I'm not going to use any crazy words, but my learning disability, I don't want to say the R word, but, you know, so, yeah, and then I just started empowering individuals to, you know, to protect themselves online and doing stuff like Michelle and, you know, doing your privacy stuff, and same thing with my family, make sure you don't click on any links, Amazon scams and all that stuff. And I really made an impact. Like, even if it's one person, like, dude, I fucking just got this email, and I checked it because I watched one of your videos, or whatever the case may be. Or like my aunt, like, I made a video on like an Amazon scam, and she was like, no, it's really Amazon. It's really Amazon. It has, I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm like, watch this. I'm going to make a video tonight, and I clone, you know, I just used, I think it was PyFisher or whatever it was, just like use a tool to clone a HTML page and just have to log in and harvest the credentials, and I showed how easy it was from the real one from like my made up one, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that was maybe fake. So it's just like, you know, protecting those people and just educating those folks is definitely something that's super important. And then obviously important careers in IT and cyber, you know, because I want to make sure like everyone in this community feels included, right? And because I felt excluded in one point of my life just because of the color of my skin or whatever. And yeah, I wanted to bridge those gaps between, you know, experts and beginners, you know, like not everyone is an expert. You know, some people are just learning the ropes and like, oh shit, like, I can't do this because I'm not at that level. I was not at that level at some point. Like, I was at your level at some point, and trust me, it took me probably a lot longer to get to this level than it will take you to get to this level because of my abilities, you know? And I just started fostering a learning community and started a, you know, YouTube channel, Discord server, an academy, just to give back to the community at such like a low fund. Like, it was never for the money. Like, I didn't give a shit about the money. You know what I mean? And then, you know, aims to the key resources for cybersecurity and IT. So that was pretty much, let's see, what else? And then, here's the next journey. Actually, my fiance actually helped me do this, so sometimes I forget. I should have read it before. But yeah, so obviously the next journey is here we are today with ISP security. I started this, and you know, it was just a personal challenge for myself, and I'm like, you know what? All right, so I want to try to say this the best way I can without sounding. Let me try to figure this out. So everyone here works for someone, right? And say for, I'm going to use me. I'm not going to use anyone. So I worked for a company that I had the opportunity to see how much they were making. And I'm like, man, they're making all this, but me and Bob is doing all the fucking work. You know what I mean? It's like, this is weird. You know what I mean? I have to do the plans, I have to read the report, I have to do the debrief, I have to do this, that, and the other. And I'm only making X amount of dollars. They're making 1 month, but I'm making a fucking year. So I'm like, oh, how about this? How about I just go to sunbiz.org and just create a fucking LLC? And that's what I did, right? And I just started my own thing, and that's how I founded this, ISP Security. And obviously, it's a smaller, you know, shop. I feel it's more personable. It's like, okay, like we're gonna do soup to nuts, start to finish with your engagements, and then yeah, that's pretty much how this started. And I believe that just like I said to you, I believe that your past doesn't determine your future, and you don't need to have a perfect start to achieve your powerful finish. Like trust me, like I didn't have a perfect start, you know. Uh, so yeah, so moving from that neighborhood hustle should, sounds better than city because I'm not from the city. But Florida safety gave me that space to reflect. Like I felt so safe in Florida. Like I didn't have to fucking worry about putting my bike down and get robbed. Like I just did what I did, and I just felt so safe there. And I just asked myself, now, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to become. And I realized what the future has hold, and it was so much bigger. And then here we are today, right? So let's see. I think that is shit. All right. So there's more. Oh man. So your past doesn't even feel. Yeah. It's not a prison, and that's the way I felt for a minute. I remember going over this with her. Like I used to always like put myself in this prison. Like man, like I'm not good enough, or I'm not this. I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. This, that, and the other. Like you don't need your perfect childhood. I'm a perfect example of that. You don't need money because I fucking know what it is to have food stamps, government cheese, and like I didn't have an EBT card like they did today, right? Like, I had the fucking monopoly money, you know. So I don't know if anyone here who was on welfare. Okay, cool. Not too many, so you can see the difference, right? So yeah, so you don't need just connections. You just need that drive. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, how do I move this thing? You don't need the right circumstances because I always thought I was not in the right circumstances. You just make your own. You know what I mean? I made my own lane, made my own career, made my own thing, and here we are today. Right? So, you just need hunger, consistency, discipline, and the courage to beat yourself, right? Or bet on yourself. And yeah, so that's I think that's it. So yeah, so if anyone has any questions, obviously for more information you can visit, info@pat.com, if isvsecurity.co for pen testing, and this is pretty much the courses I have today, and there's more courses coming, but at this moment, this is it. So thank you, and appreciate everyone. I guess we have some time, so like if there's any questions for me, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Tray flip. I tray flip. I still got those. Yeah. Yeah, I can still do a tray flip. And I actually have a skate video on my YouTube channel. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. So right now, just build ISP and just try to help as many companies and just help as many people. That's pretty much my reach. Like that's what I want to do, and make sure the next crew doesn't go through shit I went through. Yeah, man. And just connect those dots because there's a lot of pen testing companies out there that are just like you're just another number. Like I do from like the kickoff to the debrief, make sure everything is handled correctly. Or correctly in my mind, right? And having that personal, touch on it, not just like, oh, here's a debrief and you never see me again. Like you talk to the tester or the salesperson or whomever. And just grow this. And there's some more courses that I'm working on as well. As far as me personally, like, yeah, just study and try to keep it, with this whole AI shit and now AI red teaming, and now I have to learn something from Jason Havix and doing all this stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what's cooking. Cheers, man. Yeah.
Compliment and a question. So
Yeah.
first I want to say if you did have like a reading, reading.
Disability, because I have an IEP, I was in special ed, I was in the fucking retalk classes and everything.
So if you had a reading disadvantage and you made your MCSA, that's very impressive because that's three very big books, and each of those books is twice the size of the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really impressive. And then the second question is like, why not PDG security instead of IC security?
Yeah. I was debating on that, right? Because PDG is my initials, obviously. I'm not very creative. ISP and post-psychopath. So I was debating on PDG security, but this didn't flow because I did have I did skip that. I just think we have still time. Like I had an MSP for 7 years called PDG IT Solutions. Like PDG PC repair went to IT Solutions, and that's when I started like doing more like MSP work. And but I never really. That's a whole other thing. I never really promoted that. That was just like one guy I was playing hockey with was like, "Yo, can you come to my office and fix my laptop?" And then he was a doctor, and he's like, "Yo, can you fix my friend's network?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay." Then I asked for a retainer. Can I just have you as the monthly guy? And I'm like, "No, I still have a full-time job. I can't do that." And then I ended up doing that, and then that was like a side thing for me for like 7 years. And then I sold it to a bigger MSP. But yeah, that's so PDG. I think I was thinking about that, but I wanted that to like rest in peace, like that it's more like past and going with the future with the ISP thing. And it's funny because everyone's like, "Oh, internet service provider." I'm like, "No, it's not internet service provider." But yeah, awesome. Cheers, man. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Professional security culture and environment.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is that one thing that allowed you to switch from that environment?
My uncle. Yeah, like my uncle saved me. Because after my mother died, like I was in the mix of like staying in the streets, staying at friends' houses because my dad was away, he was doing time, and then like my uncle lived in Florida, and like it was either him or like my aunt Sheila, like, and Sheila was not in a situation to take me, and I was number 16, I was fucking, I was nuts, you know what I mean? I was not a normal kid, so I was like, you know, like everyone wanted to just dismiss me, you know what I mean? So like that's what that disconnect that helped me was like Joe, yeah, that's an easy one. That's why I bought him a house, and I gave him everything, because he's like, if it wasn't for him, wouldn't it be me? Yeah, cheers. Anyone else? Yeah, bro. I think the number one challenge, it's interesting because I think it's connecting with people, proving that you can do what you say you can do, right? That, I think, is my biggest challenge because people, especially now, like, and I'm mostly pushing ISP versus InfoSec path. Because before it was like, oh, like this influencer, and it's like, now it's like trying to connect with that. It's like, I want to be, I hate to say being known, but I'm like, okay, like I want this to be the forefront now, ISP security, not InfoSec path. So it's like connecting those dots right now. It's like yeah, I can do that, and I'm doing that, but I just never put it in your face. Now it's in your face. Now it's like, can he do that? So I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, okay, like the trust, making sure the person, the work that I say I can do, that I can do. I think that's where, in my head, I don't know if that's really what it is, but in my head, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Any other questions, comments, concerns? I'm not that same kid, so everyone shouldn't be concerned. Back then, maybe could have been concerned. Yeah, so I have been, like my father still lives back home. Like, I can't get my father out if I fucking paid him $1 million. Like, he wants to stay on the block, you know what I mean? Because this is all he knows. But yeah, I've gone, not to do that, but I still go home to like see family and everything like that. But yeah, yeah, and the school I went to, like I had to like, it was weird because we had 3 sessions. Probably, did you go to high school in New York? So where did you go to school? Oh, okay, so I went to like John Adams, and I went to Frankie K. Lane first, and John Adams in Queens. Like, so we had 3 sessions. We had, I think it was 7 to 1, 1 to like 5, and 5 to like 9. Like we had crazy things back then. And every student would have to go put their hands up, and we got scanned, went through metal detectors. Right? Like this was, it's like you're fucking going to prison every day. And I'm like, that's why I used to, like, I'm surprised I even graduated high school because in New York, I probably went to school. Now, now my father, if he watches this, he'll probably know. I probably went to school once a week. If that, like, I would just cut school, go to the city. Like I'll take hide my skateboard in my garbage can, and like, all right, ma, take care, and I'll just go to the city or just do my thing. I would never go to school because it's like, fuck, it's like going to prison, like, and like, what we had to do, and like, obviously knowing where I come from, everyone did the same thing. To get a gun or a knife, like, you hide it by the back door, we have a little hole, we put our weapons in, we go in, get out the back door, get our shit, and do what we gotta do, whatever we're gonna do. And, but yeah, going back to your question, yeah, like, I haven't thought about, like, going back to Adams and, like, yo, like, this is how it was. Um, yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Put that in my back pocket. Just remind me later so I can document that. Cheers. Any other questions? Any other concerns? We have like, what, 20 minutes?
You gotta give more love to Western New York.
Yeah.
That's really, you really hurt me. It was tough on the streets of Rochester.
Yeah.
Inner city, I know, not quite the same as Queens.
Yeah, it's a big debate. It's funny because I didn't leave the neighborhood. I think once I was like 14. Like leave, like go out of the state. You know what I mean? I think I went to Jersey just because, but in my head when I was a kid, when I went to Jersey, I didn't even know I was in a different fucking state. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm on a train, I'm like, oh shit, I'm Pennsylvania. Like I used to say, oh yeah, I'm going to my friend's house in the Poconos. I didn't know, in my head I'm like, just going to the Poconos to go snowboard or whatever. And in my head it was like New York. I didn't know any different. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, go for it. So like, interesting in what sense? Mhm. Yeah. So I think the most interesting thing, yeah, AI is definitely the hot topic, right? AI bots, creating bots, and doing like AI pen testing agents, and doing all this stuff is definitely something on the horizon, right? But as a software engineer, I still stick to my go-tos, and they still succeed. It all depends on the red team engagement we're doing. If it's like a full SecOps, trying to install Nginx, do a Goldfish, do Cobalt Strike, calling back to your listener, getting a shell, getting initial access and stuff like that. So that's always my like go-to. I still stick to what I know, and but yeah, that's pretty much like I don't think that's gonna go away anytime soon. It's just gonna evolve, but I don't think it's like the traditional ways are gonna really. They're just gonna enhance, in my opinion. Um, yeah. Any technical questions? Let's go on that happy stuff. Go for it. I can't remember. Say it again. Man. So I don't think they're highly regulated or compliant or anything. I think they all still have computers. They all still have these things that we can get into. Um, there's crazy things like that I encountered. There was, I'm trying to think of like a cool story to say, but there's still like your passwords on the desktop, passwords in network shares. Like I just did an engagement 2 weeks ago, and there was, the whole password list was in an Excel spreadsheet, right? So you still see this, and it's like, but you have KeyPass, you have, whatever your password manager, and you're still, obviously it's ease of access, right? Like they don't want to go to their, you know, plug in or whatever. Okay. Yep. So yeah, hopefully that answers that. Yeah, it's the same pretty much across any highly regulated. Or if you go in mom and pop, highly regulated, it's still the same methodologies and still the same stuff that I see. But yeah, we got 1 minute. Yeah, go for it. Ooh. Yeah, I use it every day. Since obviously my abilities and disabilities, but like I leverage that all the time, and I use Claude, and I have like a pen test assistant and whatever assistant, and I just integrate that to script and automate some stuff. So yeah, I leverage it every day. I don't sit there on the keyboard. I script it, boom, a shell script, hit enter, let it do its thing. But yeah, awesome. I think that is it. Finito. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming in. We're going to get started on the next talk in a second. I just wanted to call everyone's attention. In your swag bags, you have a mini passport. Please use this to talk to all of the sponsors in here, visit all the tables, get a signature within each of the boxes, and then during our happy hour, we're
for sure you can use it every day to day, even in fantastic formats. And that is not very smart. It's not Gen AI, it's not deep learning. It's just you put data into somewhere and then you ask a chatbot to analyze a
Try to
brief.
process it. You prayed that you prayed that you plugged in your own additions, and you gave it addition skills so that it will actually add
Correct. So that is the only thing that is highly reliable. So for all these people who are saying, oh hey, yeah, we teach AI, that's not possible unless you know the entire process. So yesterday I switched to one for diagrams. Technically, yes, you could have a AI look at a diagram and make a stride problem for you, but you have to teach it, and teaching it is not that easy. So we're talking about graphics, like if you're using Azure.
symbol, proper symbol, in which context the symbol was taken from. And you pray it was actually done from some standard diagram format.
So, and there's ways you can control it, like using certain standards from IEEs or using standards from Microsoft Visio or all that sorts. But you have to feed all those pictures in to say something like Azure's OpenAI or AI. Feed all those pictures in it and tell them, hey, this arrow means this symbol means oh, this. So that
My
is.
AI skills just slipped the door. You're doing supervised learning. You're doing supervised learning.
So
It's
so
really
it's
bad
not
because
so it's
I
not
just got AI certification from Osaka.
so when I tell people I secured AI, I'm not like saying the slop that's out there today. It's the actual yes, deep down nitty gritty.
Well, my call out was you look at Osaka's got like 3 or 4 certifications. The CSA has trust and safety, privacy works, pretty much every other group is created a flagship AI stuff.
So if you ask me, I see
Remember,
it's not very technical.
Remember, this is conspiracy.
It's not very technical. It's not very mature. So they could, yeah, hey, this is how you do it, but like say for Azure, it's like they already have materials out. So why for it to be like industry agnostic, you have to say, hey, there's this way.
CSA is industry agnostic. Well, here's my conspiracy theory. Because I am one of the, if you look at some of the training materials and where stuff gets installed, they just retired last year. The HCI just got kind of like whacked on their database. With the help of the industry for some reason. But you can go get the high trust. There's one it's the high trust base that's in there's the certified security software security which hasn't gotten treatment. Almost 5 years. I think they're going to fix that and rebrand application security That's my conspiracy. I do know the national organization is the president just replaced it. So I think that disarray has been happening in the last 2 or 3 years. Other than they've bought courses, AI, risk,
Hi everyone. We're going to be getting started in another minute. If you guys want to go ahead and sit down, we have a lot of chairs. Just a reminder that the capability is happening. It's someone who's in transition or trying to get into cybersecurity. That's around the corner. But let's all everybody start sitting down for Caleb to come on stage in like 30 seconds.
take each pillar. The way I would love it to be is like, oh, this month is going to be these 2 pillars, next month will be these 2 pillars. We keep it mixed so that everyone has an opportunity for something.
I just had to take a look because I never looked into any other courses outside of IC. So I've
But
seen
it's not
people
about
there.
courses. This is about building a culture and content. So it's,
So we are officially going to get started. I'm really excited for the next session. We have Caleb, who's a special agent. He's not disclosing his company, but he's going to be talking about special cookies. So here you are.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So my name is Caleb Patton. I'm a special agent. I will disclose where I'm working. It's at the